So we visited Morocco back in January, and the experience was definitely not what we expected, was it?
Definitely not.
And today I thought we'd go through some of the reasons we love Morocco, and some of the reasons why we were a bit surprised as well. So make sure you stick tight, listen to the end, because I think you're going to be surprised as well. So it all started back in August. We were originally booked to go to Iceland in January. Unfortunately, I got a notification from EasyJet saying our flights had been cancelled. So cheers, EasyJet. So I was looking through Skyscanner and I came across some really cheap flights to Marrakesh. I've been to Marrakesh before, but I never really got to experience it in the way I'd want to. We got on, we booked the flights, and then I set out to try and find the nicest accommodation possible for the cheapest price that I could. I went on Airbnb and had a look around, and there were quite a few different options, mainly going from hotels to riads in the centre. And this is where I found one really amazing place for a really affordable price. We booked it, we got a really good deal on it, and yeah, we set off in January for our trip to Morocco.
Right, so we finally arrived in Morocco. Weather was lovely, it was nice and warm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, well. So we get our bags, go through the scanners about 3 times, which we had to do. Then get outside, waiting for our transport to come and pick us up. Looking around, we can't see our name anywhere. So we're wondering, Josh booked it.
We were scared.
We were worried. Eventually, after copious amounts of looking around, a man comes over from the car park. We tell him our name and he's, yeah, thumbs up. So we all get our bags, jump into the car, at a tight squeeze.
It was a bit of a squeeze, yeah.
It was a squeeze. And then my wife had the mistake of getting in the front seat.
Yeah.
Ooh, did she regret that. What a journey. 15-20 minutes to the Riyadh. And I will tell you now, if you get into any taxi in Morocco, fear for your life.
Bring your headgear.
Yeah,
for sure.
So they like to be very friendly with the car in front, should I say?
Yeah, you're not left much space.
There's no such. Although there's lane markings, there's no such thing as lanes. They just drive where they want, and they drive right up everyone else's backsides. And that was a very interesting 20 minutes getting to outside our Riyadh where we were staying. We finally arrive just off the main road. Look to our right where our accommodation is, and all we see is high-rise building.
It was a tense moment. Someone was obviously staying here.
And I'm thinking, oh my God.
What is going on?
What have we done?
We were thinking, what do we expect? We got dropped off. No one around to really greet us. So we were thinking, what the hell is going on here? Finally, we made it into the apartment buildings, and a man came down to meet us at the bottom of the elevator, or the lift. I'm not American. The lift. He introduced us, he took us upstairs, and we finally made it to our Airbnb, to our accommodation. And from then onwards, everything seemed to be looking up. His name was Bassine. He was unbelievably friendly from the moment we met him. Incredibly accommodating. We got up there and he offered us drinks, and we'd arranged for the host to actually cook us a home-cooked meal the night we got there. We got there, we walked in the room, and everything was smelling fantastic. It was good. So we were already incredibly excited by that prospect.
Right, so after we've finally been brought into our accommodation, we've settled down, we've unpacked. What's the first thing every Brit wants to do? Go get a beer.
So we set off
on our journey, on a mission to try and find some beer. Went for a bit of a stroll.
Yeah.
Couldn't find any bars, so we decided just to go into the supermarket, pick up some beers, and then we were going to just have a couple of drinks in the Riyadh when we got back. So we went in and we had a look round. Not many very recognisable beers. Not very many recognisable anything really. What I would say to you massively, if you are coming out, and you do like a drink, get your duty frees, because it will be a lot cheaper than what you'll pay actually in Morocco in the supermarkets.
For anyone that doesn't know, Morocco is a dry country. It's a very Muslim country, very Islamic country, and for the most part, most people out there don't drink. I think Basim was explaining to us that only around 10 to 20% of the population even drink alcohol. So for the people that are getting it over there, it is definitely marked up in price quite a lot. So just bear that in mind. If you are going out there and you are buying alcohol out there as well, it is going to be marked up in price. So that's why we recommend getting it in the duty free in the airport before you get to your accommodation.
I am a bit of a beer snob, actually. So I was a little bit dubious. So I did get 3 or 4 cans of all different ones, and then I tried what I thought would have been the best. And I've got to be honest, they were all pretty good actually.
So after a long day of searching for some beers, we finally acquired some beers and made our way back to the Riad. This is where we sat down with Basim and explained to him what we were planning on doing in Morocco for the rest of our time there. It was actually fortunate that we did. Before we came out, we booked a few different trips through Viator and Get Your Guides, some of the really well-known apps for activities and excursions. When speaking to Basim, he explained to us that he actually had some contacts that would organise these for us, and we ended up paying about half the price for these. And it was also good as well because we got a tailor-made experience, and it was very much worth doing. One of the first things we did on our first or maybe second day out there was go down to the Medina. For anyone that doesn't know, the Medina is the part of Marrakesh that is walled off, where most of the markets and most of the tourist stuff goes down. I can tell you without doubt, it is the most mental place I have ever been in my life. You're walking down these tiny roads, tiny rock roads, with shops either side of you and motorcycles coming down at 20 miles an hour.
I wouldn't call them shops, stalls.
Okay, stalls. You're walking down these roads, stalls on either side. The road's probably no wider than 6 or 7 feet, and you've got motorcycles coming down at 20 miles an hour, and even the odd car/van that wants to get down there as well. We made our way into the centre, where this is where all the haggling goes down, where all of the Moroccan salespeople are trying to get you into the Medina, get you into their stalls to sell you their handcrafted goods, their peanuts, their sweets, their cloves, even the juices that are freshly squeezed as well. They're just trying to get you in and offer you the best deal that they can, or what they try to make out anyway.
And bearing in mind this is in January, so this is actually during a very quiet period.
Yeah. After we went to the Medina, the next day came and we were off to Ouzoud Falls. Ouzoud is probably the most famous waterfall in Morocco. It's one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been in my life. This seemed like a bit of a task because my mum ended up falling in a river. So that was fun. And
good firm footing, definitely.
Yeah.
Flip flops, not a good idea.
Yeah, so you want to be wearing some footing. It's going to be rugged. It's going to take a bit of time to get down there as well. So just be prepared. When you get down to the bottom, they do have these little boats that will take you out pretty much directly underneath the waterfall where the water's
absolutely
splashing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's only it's actually really cheap to do that as well. I think it was the equivalent of about £2 to £3 each to do that. So it's definitely something that I'd recommend doing.
You pretty much need to do it because you need to cross to the other side, and then you walk up a pathway on
the other side,
on the other way up. So,
yeah,
which is really nice. It's nice to see it from both sides.
Yeah, the journey on the way back though was tough. I can't remember exactly how many steps it is. I'll put it in the video, but there were a lot of steps that led us to getting up to the top of this waterfall. We managed to make it up to the top eventually after a long, treacherous journey, and that's where we made it to a restaurant at the top. And one thing that we haven't really mentioned in this video yet is the Moroccan food, which I think both of us would say It's probably our favourite part of the trip.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely amazing.
So if you're going out to Morocco, you're definitely going to love the foods. They've got tagines, they've got meat, they've got eggs, they've got all sorts of things that especially a meat eater would love, but they do have a wide range of vegetarian options as well. The tagines over there, and I don't know if any of you have had a tagine before, it's basically like a stew that's cooked in a clay pot, and the meat goes so succulent and tender. It's
Lovely.
unreal. It's unreal. It's some of the best food that I think we've ever had. I think you'd agree.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I think pretty much every meal I had was
10 out of 10. Yeah, I don't think you had anything else that I did.
No.
So that's one thing, and we made it to the top of this we made it to the top of this waterfall, and we sat down at this restaurant. We had an amazing 3-course meal, which is just what we needed after a hike back up to the top. So
they were very, very friendly as well. Very friendly.
yeah, and that's one thing I'll say. All of the Moroccan people that we met were extremely friendly. I know a lot of people have told us stories about, again, it being intimidating, but all of the people that we met and that we spoke to were extremely friendly and really, really accommodating. So any Moroccans out there, thank you for being so accommodating for when we came.
Right, so then we got up. I think we were about halfway through our trip, and we went to Essaouira. Now Essaouira is easiest way to explain it is a coastal town where it was a couple of hours journey, which was a bit of a trek, but was absolutely really thrilling and exciting on the way down, as we did get some really, really nice experiences. I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of and seen pictures of the trees where it's literally surrounded by goats and filled up with goats. So, and it's great because he'll stop there, you'll stop on the roadside, you'll go down, you can meet the guides, and for a small fee you'll be able to go up and you can cuddle some of the goats, and
we got to
you get some
goat.
nice pictures, which I'm sure you'll see.
Yeah, so that was one of the most amazing, surreal experiences I've ever seen. Just driving by this road in the middle of nowhere and just seeing this leafless tree just full of goats, probably 20, 30, just sat there, and I still don't know how they get up there. We made it into Essaouira. First thing we thought, go get some food, because it was a long journey. We hadn't eaten that morning, so we made our way to, I think, the first restaurant we could find. Fortunately enough for us, it was one of the nicest meals I think we've ever had.
Amazing.
It was really, really isolated, this one place. You walked into the walled part of the city, and it was down this tiny rock road in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how we found it. There was no one else in the restaurant. We were the only people there, and you wouldn't have expected it, but it was the nicest meal I think we've ever had. It's in the top 3 for me, for sure. And they serve beer, which is always good.
That was cheap as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they were really cheap.
Too bad. Essaouira in general is such a peaceful, calm village for the most part, especially when you're staying in Marrakesh, which is so hustle bustle. It was nice to come out and experience a day of something that was slightly more chilled out. On the way back, it was a bit of a different story. So one thing that you need to know about Morocco is the general road safety out there, which we touched upon earlier, is sort of overlooked. And you'll see kids on the back of motorcycles and people with 3 wheels and a pop tyre and a smashed window just driving down the road.
You've got to understand that when he says kids, he doesn't mean 1 or 2, probably 4 or 5.
Yeah,
on the back of a
motorcycle.
Crazy.
So we were driving back from Essaouira, and one other thing you need to know is in Morocco there are a lot of different random police checkpoints between different cities. So every, say, 50 to 100 miles there'll be a police checkpoint where they'll wave you through or they'll do a random check. We got pulled over in one of these random checks, and he checked on us, and my mum wasn't wearing her seatbelt, which, considering everything else we'd seen in Morocco, we didn't think was too much of a big deal. We were wrong. The policeman took our taxi driver, had a very long and heated conversation with him, all whilst we were thinking that we were going to get stuck in Morocco 150 miles away from our accommodation, with no way to get back because we thought he was going to get arrested. We were very fortunate that he only got a small fine, which we did pay in the end as well. But I think that was one of the most heart-in-mouth moments we had.
I think Moroccans, when they speak to each other, it sounds like they're arguing with each other. That's just the way they speak to each other, isn't it?
We were very nervous.
For us, we were like, wow.
What's going on?
We thought he was going to start throwing punches and then get arrested, and then we would have been lumbered. But no, it was fine.
But we made it back, so
wasn't that bad, but it made it interesting.
Yeah, for sure. In general, Morocco was filled with some of the weirdest and craziest experiences I've ever had, and anyone that's looking to go this year, I would 100% recommend you just get on and do it. You'll find amazing foods, really, really friendly people, and you'll definitely be in for some experiences which you just would not get elsewhere. Apart from that, make sure you do like and subscribe to the channel because we are going to have a lot more coming up soon. I'm off to Turkey in 2-3 days, so I'll make sure to have some daily content coming out around that trip as well. So if you do want to see that, make sure you do subscribe. And
some of us have got to stay home and do some work.
Yeah, and leave a comment below. Let us know what sort of videos you want to see in the future as well. And we have a lot of other videos on the channel so far, which I think you might enjoy as well. So until next time, thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Cheers.